Hey, RT here. We're taking a look at one of my tomato plants I grew from seed, and I'm going to show you how I plant my tomatoes. So this is my tomato planting guide. I'll show you what I think is important in the process, including talking about the hole, staking it, and mulching it, as well as just some general advice on tomato planting. So thanks for watching in advance. So planting a tomato in the ground always starts with digging the hole. Okay, I got my spade and I'm starting to dig my hole. The ground is very hard. It's very clay-like. It has rained a ton here, so the ground's very hard. So instead of trying to dig real deep, I'm going to focus on digging a wide hole. I think that works for tomatoes as they are shallow-rooted plants anyway. If I had a tomato that was very long but it wouldn't stand up like I like, I would probably use the Amish method and bury it long ways as opposed to deep. I think that just works better. And let me get rid of this root. You always wonder where these roots come from because there's no tree anywhere near this area. Anyway, let me finish this hole and we'll move on. Okay, once I got the hole dug, I like to take the tomato plant and put it in the hole and just see how it looks, whether I need to dig the hole a little deeper or whether I need to actually add dirt to raise the level of where it's at. You see I'm actually doing 2 plants at once. Okay, I'm now trying to put in my stake before I plant my tomato, but this ground is so hard I was not able to do it with just pushing in the stake. Therefore, I'm grabbing this garlic planter and pounding a hole into the ground so that I can have a starter hole for my stake. I could have used other tools, but this is what I had handy. All right, so now I'm grabbing my stake and I'm putting it into the hole. I'm able to push it a little further now that I've got a little deeper. And once I get it in, I will then put in my tomato. Okay, so after I get done just sort of filling in around the stake, I'm ready to plant my plant. So here I've got one. Before I reach this stage, I always make sure I water the plant really well. That way it's hydrated before I begin peeling off its cardboard container. I always use these cardboard containers. I find they work very well for what I'm trying to do. And on a plant this size, I would expect there to be decent root development. And there is decent root development, but it is not, overdeveloped. And that's why you don't see the roots just growing all over. You notice I spread the bottom of the tomato plant, and that's just to sort of give the roots a opportunity to start spreading in all directions. I set it close to the stake because I will tie it to the stake later. Some people like to add stuff to the bottom of their hole, and sometimes I do that myself. Here I'm just doing it on the side. And the main thing is make sure you use some of your local dirt. As I said earlier, mine is clay-like, and why I think this is important, it will help make sure that this plant stays exactly where I've planted it. Next, you want to trim off, at least I do, the lower leaves. I like these tall plants because when I mulch them and get them in the ground, the leaves are far from the soil, and a lot of diseases, exist in the soil, and if the dirt splashes up on your leaves, it does seem to make the plants sick later in the season. It's not something that happens right away, but I do notice the plant life's a lot shorter. Okay, so now I'm putting down my mulch. I use grass clippings. I generally try to dry out the grass clippings before I apply them. And what I want to do is spread them all around. This is a tall plant, so I want to make sure that the mulched area is at least as wide as the plant is tall. And that will just make sure that when it rains, it will not splash on them. Okay, so that's my tomato planting guide. Be sure to tie your plants to the stake. That's what I'll do next. The video I had of that was poor quality, so I cut it out. But I do tie them to the stake. I have a short where I basically explain that it's very important to make sure you tie them as high as possible. That way, if a strong wind or storm comes along, you don't get the top of your plant snapped off. So again, thanks for watching, and if you like what I'm doing with my videos, give me a thumbs up and consider subscribing so that I can grow my channel. And obviously I'm trying to get better and better, and try to bring you as much useful information as possible. And if you got any comments, please do leave them. Thank you.